Alright everyone, welcome back, and it's time to go balls deep. Balls deep in a question that has crossed every single person who watches Black Clover. Who are Asta and Yuno's parents? Why were they left together at the church? And who put them there? Now I did ask you guys that follow me on Twitter or Instagram as well as the community tab on YouTube for your opinion on this very topic. What do we as a Black Clover community think the answer is? I'll discuss this more towards the end of the video, so stick around and make sure to smash the like button so you can show your support to me, so I know you like these type of videos so I can produce more of them. Without further ado, let's cue the intro.
You don't fuck with neck, bro.
Before we begin, this video was made possible with NordVPN. Sign up with the link below using code AnimeBallsDeep and you get 75% off and 1 month extra for free. NordVPN protects you online, kinda like a firewall or antivirus, and we do know you go on those dodgy websites, right? Who are we kidding? We all do. When you go on public Wi-Fi or cafe or at home, you need to make your connection safer. So paying for NordVPN for only $2.99 a month, it will save you all the trouble if anything goes wrong. It's better to be safer than sorry. You would even be able to access different anime on websites such as Netflix across the globe by just changing your location. On top of all of that, you can try this risk-free because there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so why not try it? Use code AnimeBallsDeep for 75% off. So with every theory and analysis video that I have done on this channel, I mention it time and time again, for this breakdown to make sense, we all need to be on the same page. We need to see eye to eye to make this Black Clover theory logical. So let's begin with the information we have on Asta and Yuno's origin story and childhood. Now in the introduction of Black Clover chapter 1, the narrative states that Asta and Yuno are the same age. They both are abandoned as babies at the church on the exact same day at the exact same time. This caused both of them to become foster brothers, and it's stated that they spend all their time together doing the exact same things together at all times. In addition to this, Yuno has had a necklace with him already as a baby. This necklace is a gemstone that the elves are seeking for the stones of Sephira and reincarnation magic. Lastly, another key detail people often forget, but Asta and Yuno already had names as babies. Who named them? The priest saw their names written on their clothes already. This means the person that left them at the church named them, or their actual parents named them and then left them at the church. Something along those lines must have occurred. The narrative of Black Clover from the very beginning insinuates the idea that Asta and Yuno are not twins or brothers. This is because the priest questioned this himself and comes to the conclusion that they are the opposites in personality and look entirely different. From all of this information, we can come to a logical conclusion. Someone must have put these two together for a reason and purpose. There must be a link between them. Someone also gave Yuno the necklace with a motive and intention. Someone purposely chose for them to stay at Hage village, which is the original elf tribe location where they resided hundreds and hundreds of years ago and where the massacre took place. So connecting all of these dots and the information we have provided so far, this kind of automatically means Asta and Yuno are linked with the elves or Lisht in one way or another. This is why later on in the manga, the story comes full circle and everything starts to make sense with these two characters, because they have to be linked with them because the plot needs it to be. Now this is my theory and my personal opinion, but I think Yuno is Lisht and Tetia's unborn child that was reincarnated after Lisht casted the spell during the demon god attack. Their child was about to be born after marriage anyways, and the child was going to be half elf and half human. Asta, however, may also be linked to being Lisht's son by Tetia being pregnant with fraternal twins which are unidentical, but as I said, the narrative already tries to debunk this multiple times. For example, the priest and even the witch queen states that Asta isn't related to Lisht or elves as she thought he was, and there is no blood relation between them. The witch queen actually had a thought that Asta could be a descendant of Lisht because Asta is able to wield his swords and grimoire. She then went on to deny it, saying that Asta just happened to be someone who is able to control them due to not having any magic, and that's what makes him special, right? But to counter argue this, you can argue that birth defects must have a reason, right? People aren't just randomly giving birth defects, especially in an anime. There must be a reason just how in real life we can scientifically explain them in human beings. Why does Asta have this defective trait? Also, another thing, the witch queen isn't all-knowing. I proved her wrong. She probably got the story about Lisht summoning the demon wrong, since we know it's an inside job from my other videos. That please watch these videos, I'll link them below. But what we can gather is that the witch queen knows for a fact that Asta's blood wasn't the same as the elves, but this could be because of the mutation caused by two different races colliding their genetics together. Therefore, Tetia being pregnant with twins caused Asta to have no mana and the ability to wield Lish's swords once they became anti-mana and the demon went inside it, since the master demon did all of this. And of course, Yuno received the opposite effects and all the mana and all the attributes the elves have. At the end of the day, one way or another, I think Asta and Yuno must be related to the first Wizard King or Lish himself. Let me break down everything with facts, starting off with Yuno. We know he is an elf now, but he has retained his memories and personality. Why? This may be because he is a half human and elf child of Tetia and Lish. There is a lot of evidence for this. The first piece of evidence comes from Yuno's magic type. Yuno has wind magic and a 4-leaf grimoire. A 4-leaf grimoire and his immense mana pool indicates that he's from a noble bloodline. If we link Yuno to Tetia being his mother, this makes logical sense. Tetia also was a wind magic user and was supposed princess of the Clover Kingdom, and in Manga chapter 148 it is shown that Tetia possessed a grimoire that contained various wind-based magic spells. Also, Tetia's brother was the first Wizard King, who also had immense mana with a 4-leaf grimoire. On top of that, Lish, Yuno's supposed father in this theory, would be also a 4-leaf grimoire user too. So if Yuno is the supposed unborn child who is reincarnated, it makes sense as to why he gained a 4-leaf wind magic grimoire, due to the immense inheritance of being half elf and half human through genetics. The second piece of evidence via logic is this. If Lish casted reincarnation, it obviously means the baby inside Tetia would be too, but the baby would come back to someone at a similar age. Every other elf that has been reincarnated so far have their souls within someone that was of similar age. Therefore, the baby being Yuno reincarnated at Hage village makes sense. Moving on to the third piece of evidence that Yuno is Lish's child comes from Raya and what he says about him during their fight. Raya says, as expected from Lish's, and then the narration cuts off to the next scene. He does not get to finish what he says, so this must mean Yuno is his son or blood related somehow. Raya even admits to Potoli later on in the manga, and even in Manga chapter 156, that somehow Yuno has retained his personality even though the reincarnation has succeeded. This provides even more evidence that logically, if Yuno is Lish and Tetia's unborn child reincarnated, it's obvious why the personality isn't taken over. There isn't one to begin with. The baby doesn't have one and contains Yuno's. In Manga chapter 154, the other elves make it seem as though Yuno's new personality will come into effect, but it doesn't. There is no personality or soul that can take him over, because he is himself. He is the unborn child of Tetia. No other elf that we have seen so far has had this problem where the human soul was too strong for it to be taken over. So why is Yuno a special case? Furthermore, quoting Yuno himself, he says, "I understand, right now there are two elves, aka bodies over there, that are occupied by two different people's souls. Their true ones are dormant, and inside me too, but I am the magic knight Yuno, no one else." So what Yuno is trying to say here, he admits that he also has a soul like an elf that has occupied his body to give him the powers that they have, but then he denies that it is dormant. He is clearly implying he is in control of himself and only one being. This means that Yuno finally received and activated his elf powers due to being half human and half elf. Once the reincarnation magic took effect, his elf dormant side, as he states, was activated. Further evidence of Yuno being half elf and half human is from Manga chapter 195. When Yuno faces Raya and Potoli, Raya points out that Yuno is able to develop both human and elf powers in a very short period of time, as if this kid is as much of a natural talent as Lish himself. So obviously, realistically, if Yuno was his child, it makes sense why he can have both sets of powers and is so talented at using them. Now, let's briefly talk about Asta. Asta having no mana may stem from the use of forbidden magic having a heavy negative side effect. The Witch Queen stated that the use of reincarnation by Lish caused a heavy sacrifice. She also stated that Asta has a mutation. This sacrifice is not known, but it could be that Asta is involved. If Asta is related to the first Wizard King or is the twin of Yuno, this could be the curse and sacrifice that she was talking about. Asta has the devil and demon in the grimoire due to it either being sealed away by the master demon or it was put inside due to cursed magic. Asta also received a birth defect of having no mana, and all of this information could be linked to each other. If we look at things holistically in Black Clover, Asta once transformed has a half crown and wings. Yuno also has half a crown and wings, like the opposite sides. So in theory, they are connected and it does make sense. So maybe it's a metaphor that Yuno is the crown prince of the elves and Asta will be the magic emperor of humans. The official guidebook, for example, even shows the first Wizard King with Asta and Yuno. Why would they illustrate this if there is no connection at all? The first Wizard King is also the spitting image of Asta. They have the same eyes and facial structure, so this could mean they are related with one another. Are you trying to tell me these guys guys don't look alike? Are you really gonna tell me that? You guys need to go to get some glasses or Specsavers. Also, why does Asta have such a strong drive and shares ideology with the first Wizard King? Asta said the very same thing as him, that he wants all races to live with one another with no racism or prejudice. Raya also felt these feelings and said Asta is not lying about this, just like the first Wizard King. He has this altruistic personality type and maybe it got passed on to him. Whenever the narrative displays Asta and Yuno, Asta is often linked with the first Wizard King whilst Yuno with Lish. This makes me think even more and more that this connection between all of them, there must be something. Yuno being Lish and Tetia's son, thus Yuno having the final stone that finishes the plan that officially reincarnates the elves makes sense too. I mean, who else could Lish trust in the future with his plan to make the tribe whole again? Who else could Lish trust to find out the true betrayal of elves and fix everything? Of course he would leave the final necklace and the final stone to his son, you know, so that they can come back. It can't be a coincidence since the necklace allowed him to enter the hell zone and fight Ron and this new demon. Lastly, when Asta and Yuno face Lish, we can clearly see Lish is godlike, right? He has godlike powers and he can take them down. But since Lish isn't himself yet, there must be a reason why he didn't kill them straight up right there. He takes out the third sword and attacks both of them. He even leaves his sword and grimoire to Asta since it doesn't belong to him supposedly. So this could be because the real Lish knows that Yuno may be his son and there's some sort of blood relation with their, so you can sense it in their manner or their blood type. Or maybe Asta is linked with the family too. There has to be some sort of like logical explanation one way or another on why Lish didn't kill them there. So I actually think Lish is a good person and he's trying to uncover the truth behind the massacre, so he created a plan in the past. We are witnessing the chain of events occurring. Right now, personally, what I'm waiting for, I want to know who left them at Hage village and how. And lastly, who is Asta's parents and why he has no mana. The other few questions, I think I have a good idea on what's going on, and I do recommend you guys watching my other Black Clover videos for a better understanding. But let's look at the comments on Twitter and YouTube to see what you guys have to say. Harrison says Yuno is all but confirmed to be in some way, shape or form related to Lish in my opinion, or be a mixed breed of elf and human somehow. As for Asta, the popular theory is that the first Wizard King is related. Oh, so me and him share the same opinion. Katana says, I used to think they were reincarnated Wizard King and Demon King that we always see in the narration intro, but now I think they were the child of Lish and the Wizard King's sister. So everyone seems to be thinking the same thing. A lot of people shared their opinion too, that they want Asta not to be related with Yuno and they don't want him to be the son of Lish because that will make him more relatable and more of a triumph story. Alright, let's check the YouTube community. The most upvoted comment is from Psycho XX Wang. I believe Asta and Yuno are both children of Lish and Tetia, and Yuno is a good outcome of a human and elf, while Asta is a bad outcome with anti-magic. We pretty much came to the same conclusions. Let me give that a little heart. They are a race of magical potatoes. Rodriguez, you try. Raphael says Asta has the first Wizard King's eyes and hair, and Yuno has eyes similar to an elf. It would be amazing if Yuno was the son of Lish and Tetia, while Asta was the son of the first Wizard King, making them first cousins. Oh, that's what I said too. This is crazy. We all as a community seem to have like the same opinion. This is crazy. Alex says, I believe that Asta is born of peasant parents just like him. People either believe Asta and Yuno are cousins or brothers, or Asta is a peasant because they would prefer that. But Yuno, everyone unanimously believes that Yuno is Lish's son. Thanks for joining me in this video. Make sure to follow me on Twitter or Instagram and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, or any video ideas you have so I can shout you out. And yeah, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.